With every haptic buttoned LED HEV CRAP that debuts every month, we now know more than ever that the 90s was the ultimate automotive sweet spot, with the most common compromises being rust and a couple of other foibles due to the time of which your car was a product of. One of the youngest looking of all the 90s babies that I can name is the Mark I Ford Focus, an absolutely timeless piece of design. Now, the car that I've just took ownership of may not be described by everyone as timeless, but it is absolutely flawless.
Like no other, flawless. Like perfection. Like no other, flawless. Absolutely flawless.
Now, normally when I rock up at work in a new car, the lads say something along the lines of, "What tat have you bought this time, Matt?" But this, my new IS-200, was met with an awful lot of praise. Colleagues reminisce to me about the people they knew who owned one when they were new. They were the car to have back in the day, apparently. And although they sold reasonably well, the IS-200 was a bit of an underrated 3 Series alternative. The 3 Series, of course, went on to do big things, while this plodded on in the background from 1999 until 2005. This is an early example IS-200 from 1999. V-Reg and on dealer plates as well. 2 owners from new, with the second one buying it from an approved used Lexus dealer when it was just 2 years old. And a video about the full buying experience of this car is coming up. Now, time to go unscripted and have a little walk around my new car. What a lot of car for the money. £1,700 is what I've paid for all this car. And I think even the owner knew at the time that he was selling it for too cheap. £2,000 is what you'd expect to pay for one of these if you ignore the write-offs, the breakers, the modified versions, and £3,000 plus for a really, really good one. Now, I think this is a really, really good one, and it's got a lot going for it, which we will discuss in the video. However, it's a little bit mileagey. 164,000 I think is what I bought it on, and it's on a little bit more than that at the minute. It's finished in that generic Lexus colour of the time that Jay-Z sung about, the half-white Lexus. But it doesn't scrub up too badly, does it? Paint is faded in some places. You may have noticed a little bit of damage, which I suppose we will discuss. But the lady absolutely doted on this car, the lady who I bought it off, and she even provided me with a jar of touch-in paint to match the car, which you know, she has used over the years to sort of try and maintain a little bit of its appearance. And you know what, she's looked after it fairly well. Bit of a chippy bonnet. This is the main bit of damage here, really, where obviously the bumper's impacted something and it's cracked. The headlights and the fog lights, they look a little bit tired. I have buffed up the headlights. This one has come out better than this one. But really, what do you expect? 166,000 miles, 24 years old. She's even taken the liberty, which I have the invoice for, but you can see it's been done. Bit of welding here, where there was a bit of rust, or a lot of rust, and this plate has been welded in here, and the whole sill has been painted black on both sides. The car really, I mean, it looked better with a full buff, but it really hasn't got too many scratches on at all. As I say, full video of the buying experience is coming. Yeah, with a buff and a wash, it would look a different car. Now, it was bought approved used from HR Owen, and they are the plates. They that dated back to 2002. So the lady bought it when it was just 2 years old, really, and has sold it to me. Now, this was not me, and it was not the woman either. A student who lives on my street has scuffed the car there, so most of this will buff off, this white stuff, but I'm either going to go around with the jar of touch-in that she gave me, or I'm going to get this corner painted, because it's a real shame, really, and really dishonest of the person who hit the car. 4 Goodyear tyres, ladies and gentlemen. talking about a good year, I think this car's had a good life. It may have done the mileage, but as we head inside, I will tell you that this car has wanted for nothing over its lifespan. It really, really has been someone's baby. You can see up here where she's been round it with the touching pen. It is just, you know, it's 24, 25 years old, so it is going to have a little bit of wear in some place. But I tell you where it doesn't have any wear at all, it's this interior. Now, if you can imagine, 166,000 miles. Even the steering wheel, all the controls, they're not sticky, they're not faded. The back seats apparently have hardly been sat in. And if you take something like a 4-year-old Mercedes, which uses that like Artico leather, that would all be gone there by now. Peeled, split, everything. This, you know, it's miraculous, the way it's just carried on. Now, this is the obligatory sports watch, if you like, instrument cluster, and you can see on this trip we'll cover fuel consumption and stuff like that in a different video, but this trip I've done 221. We've just done half a tank there, and oh god, we're on 168 now. I didn't even know that. I never knew that. 164,000 miles, I think, is what I bought it on, and we're on 168 now. So we've done a fair few bits in this video, in this car, as I think you will see in future videos. Well, you definitely see. Should we start her up? Honestly, you couldn't. There are new cars that sound worse than that, and that doesn't even sound bad. I'm going to save that because that's just cost me a tenner doing that. And also with this car, as I mentioned at the start, you get an awful lot for your money. A lot more than the base E46 that I had. This is the SE model, which I think is one up from the base. And the only thing that this car doesn't have, and I wouldn't want it anyway because it would just be useless, is the satellite navigation unit that would live up here if you had it. But other than that, it really does have everything. You might have noticed electric tilt and slide sunshine roof, just like in my Fiat Brava that I've just got rid of. Air conditioning, climate control in its infancy, if you like. Not just a cassette player for my cassettes down there, also a CD player. Heated seats for passenger and driver. Cruise control, the basic, very infant version of cruise control, but this, I believe, is much more simple system where you just build your speed up and then select cruise control. None of that radar stuff, tap, 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 none of all that. You have a look at the steering wheel here. Not a single button on. Such a beautiful design with that sort of perforated material there. Just simple, beautiful, lovely. This whole interior, it's solid. It's worn really, really well, and it's a real new definition of the luxury car, I think. Heading further down here, we've got cigarette lighter, lovely generous sized ashtray there. Automatic gearbox on this car. Should have mentioned the engine. We will have a look at it. It's a 2-litre petrol engine. This is the 4-speed automatic box. As you can imagine, it's not of today's standards, and yeah, but it does do the job. It's smooth, it's nice, you know, it doesn't annoy me. One thing that does annoy me, which you will see in a future video, is snow mode. Don't believe it. Down here we've got we've got a couple more tapes actually, Northern Uproar and the bucket heads. But what we have here is some sort of like, you know, figureless cup holders. You could use these as cup holders, but do be careful. Armrest there-ish, and a bit more storage. Ooh, that's gone a bit. That's your rear ashtray. You can tell that that's never been used. But they did think of everything. And you think it ends here? No, it doesn't. 2 cup holders for the rearmost passengers there. Electric folding mirrors. We really, really could go on with the equipment that this car has, and it's quite a nice interior as well, isn't it? There is a video coming about why you shouldn't be worried about buying a high mileage car, but let me give you a little insight. This is 25 years worth of bills and receipts, some of which were carried out by Lexus dealers themselves. This car has had lambda sensors, tyres, brakes, nothing actually too major. You know, it hasn't like broke down all the time or anything like that, but it's had timing belts, fan belts, water pumps, the works really. And I'm not going to go through all of these invoices individually because I really would not like to give away the lovely Vivian's address. What I can go through with you though is what's in here. Would you like to look at this? That is an old style MOT certificate. When does that date back to now? June the 9th 2004. That's, look at the old MOT certificate. That'll be a blast from the past for some of you, won't it? Ready? Lexus service, 2002 Lexus service, 2002 again, 2003, 2004, 2005. So the lady who bought this approved used was still getting it serviced right up until 2008. She was still getting it serviced by Lexus. Oh, Lexus again, sorry, 2009. And then we move on to Johnson's Motors. But look at the plethora of service history. Full, may I add, service history. Comprehensive, right up until 2020, where we then ran out of service stamps. So I have the rest of the services right up until the present year in the invoice book. The original vehicle inspection from 2002, when this was being sold, approved used. Now you can't read all of that writing, but one of the things that was picked up on is chips on the bonnet. You may have noticed as well on the bonnet of this car a bit of lacquer peel has developed, as well as on the roof there as well. And you know, this car's come from Watford up to Liverpool, and someone's hit the corner bumper, which I'm not happy with, and it started lacquer peel. And she must be thinking, oh, I've come up north, promised a better life, and this is what I've got. But I promise you, just because you've come up north doesn't mean that you're not going to get no money spent on you, even if everywhere else isn't like that. So there we have the 2-litre petrol engine, an engine which I need to do more research on. I don't really know a lot about it other than it's got bulletproof reliability. A lot of space to work on, depending on what you actually worked on, because like a lot of stuff is piled and buried right under there. Small oil leak on this engine, but that's par for the course with anything that's really over 15 years old. You're going to have oil leaks developing. The under tray as well, I noticed, is quite loose, but unfortunately I can't fix that because the plastic brackets that it screws onto have snapped. But other than that, considering I've done 5,000 miles, not a problem with it. So that, my friends, is my latest purchase. We haven't really talked a lot about this car and what it is and what it does. That is to come in future videos. We've got loads planned. We've got a how I come to own this car, advice on buying a high mileage car. Me and my brother done a road trip in this car. We've of course got a review. Loads and loads and loads to come. So stay tuned, and hopefully you like this car. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts below. Oh, and finally, yes, you will see me at Festival of the Unexceptional in July with this very car. Come and say hi to me at Festival of the Unexceptional, but in the meantime, yeah, I'll see you on the next video.